If we look at the history of Jewish people, we would notice that they faced persecution throughout their history. First, they were persecuted by Babylonian king, and then by the Roman Empire. They had to leave their territories, and they scattered all over the world. That's how different branches of Jews or different types of Jews came into existence. And if we see carefully, so maybe we can find four major types of Jew. There could be others as well, the most prominent being the Ashkenazis, who are considered European Jews. They are said to be Germans or Polish, or they were mainly in the Western countries, but some people also say that they were also from Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, and other areas. So they are called mainly European Jew. But then the term European Jew is a bit confusing because Spain and Portugal are also part of Europe. But the Jews who had to face persecution there and who left Spain and Portugal after 1492 or even before that, they came to be known as Sephardic Jews. So they were mainly Spanish and Portuguese Jews who had been living with Christian and Muslim for centuries, especially during the Muslim time in certain city states. They were quite they were quite prosperous, and they were coordinating with Muslim and Christians as well, especially as far as the matter of promotion of sciences is concerned. And Muslim and uh, Jewish scholars or scientists or philosophers or mathematicians, they collaborated on so many projects and they worked together. But when Muslim were defeated, the final, the last Muslim state was wiped out almost in 1492. So both Muslims and Jews were asked to either convert to Christianity or leave. Many Muslim left. Some of them also converted to Christianity, and the same happened with the Jews as well. So a number of Jews left Spain and Portugal. Some opted to stay in Spain and Portugal's, and they converted to Christianity as well. But they accused of following Judaism or following Jewish practices secretly, and they came to be known as crypto Jews. So that is in a way third form. So crypto Jews more or less were in reality Spanish or Portuguese Jews. So when we say European Jews, it's a bit confusing because naturally Spain and Portugal also fall within the territorial limits of Europe. So in that way, crypto Jews, Sephardic Jews, and Ashkenazi Jews, they're all Europeans. But again, there is a question that Ashkenazi Jews are West European, but some people uh, bunch West European Jews and Russian Jews, Ukrainian Jews, Belarusian Jews together, describing them that they are all Ashkenazi Jews. So, and then Sephardic Jews are mainly from Portugal or Spain again. So, Sephardic Jews are Spanish or Portuguese Jews, but at the same time they are European Jews. In the same way, crypto Jews, they were like from Sephardic Jews, but at the same time they were also in Europe. So in a way, Ashkenazi Jews, Sephardic Jews, and crypto Jews, they should all be declared European Jews if Russia could be considered a part of Europe, because there are some skeptics. Russia is very much European, but many people might consider Russia as a separate entity because it's the largest country in the world by territory, and of course it has a very long border with Asian countries as well. The fourth kind of Jew is called Mizrahi Jew. or Mizrahi Jews are basically Jews in the Arab countries from Iraq, from Lebanon, from Syria, from Egypt, and they had been living with Arabs for a very long time. I think Avi Shalom is from Iraq, and he accused that maybe in he accused in one of his lectures uh, the Israeli intelligence that they orchestrated some sabotage activities inside Iraq, maybe during 40s or before 40s, so that Jews living in those countries, in Arab countries, uh, could get frightened, and this would prompt them to leave those countries. So millions of Jews who had been living in Arab countries before, 6 Day War, and later on, of course, we had a war in 70s as well, 19 in the during the decade of 70s. So they had to migrate after Arab Israeli tension. Otherwise, they had been living there for centuries. So unlike relationship of Jews with the Christians, their relationship with Muslim were comparatively better. Of course, people do quote the incident of Khaybar, but there are Muslim historians who believe that one has to see that in proper context, and there are some Muslim historians who believe that only a few tribes of Jews were, in a way, were taught a tough lesson, or were asked to leave that particular area, or faced killings because they had reneged on their promises during the war. There are others, but Jewish writers believe that no, the entire population of the Jewish people living in Arabian Peninsula was either kicked out or killed. So that was a different story. But by and large, their relationship with Muslim was comparatively better, because Muslims, uh, uh, unlike Christians, Muslim did not accuse Jew, you know, of being anti-Islam or anti something else, because Christ was crucified and Christian blamed Jews for this crucifixion. Then there were certain plagues which were also blamed on them, certain fires. There were a lot of myths about Jews, for instance, especially the killings of infants, ritual killings of Christian infants. So no such myth existed in Muslim history. And when Muhammad, peace be upon him, created a sort of tiny state in Medina, and Misake Medina, or Contract of Medina, granted equal freedom or complete religious freedom to Jews and other non-Muslims. Some Muslim historians go to the extent of saying that Muhammad, peace be upon him, even declared a part of Ummah or a part of nation. But because of the state of war, some strict measures had to be taken, and they were taken, and but they did not target all Jews, but only those who their promises reneged on their promises during the state of war. And then uh, Jews and Christians were the people of the book, so that's why Muslim paid attention towards this important factor. The people of Ethiopia were not disturbed; they were not attacked. In the same way, uh, Muslim were allowed to even marry within Jews and Christian, according to some Muslim thinkers. There are others who say no, that is not the case, but there are many who believe that that is the case. So Christians blamed Jews for the crucifixion of Christ, for rituals killing, and for certain plagues and certain fire as well. But that is not the case with the that is not the case with Muslims. Muslim comparatively enjoyed good relationship with Jews, and we can see in the House of Wisdom of Bethul Hikmah, Jewish intellectuals. They were collaborating with Muslim. They were collaborating in Al Andalusia, in southern Spain, and some Jewish people made it to high echelon of power in Muslim lands during the Umayyad time. One of the at least chief officials was Jew. Similarly, in city state of Al Andalusia, there were Jews who some Jews didn't make it to high echelon of power. One of them is said to be the chief advisor of one of the rulers, which is more or less in today's term the prime minister. So and then Muslim. That's why you see not many pogroms or almost no programs against Jews in Muslim lands. Of course, it is a debatable question, but at least before the creation of Israel, there was not uh, persecution of Jews in Muslim land on a massive scale. On the contrary, when Jews were forced to leave Europe, they sought shelter in the Muslim countries, and even during the First and Second World War, some of them also sought shelter there. Some historians believe, including some Jewish historians, that even UK and the US shut down their door on Jews during the persecution of Hitler, and they were welcome. At least section of Muslim population welcomed them in Palestine. Again, that is debatable point, but this is what some people say. So, because of that, all history, that long persecution of Jews and so many other political factors, they came to be, they got divided into four major types, which are Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Crypto, and Mizrahi.